rate, like what that essentially is, like it's just like how much they're paying on top of like the loan amount. So all these things are set in stone. So they're like most of the interest rates and stuff like that are based off of the loan amount or the loan, not the loan amount, but the type of loan that it is, whether it's like a fix and flip or a ground up loan or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And most of them are just like it's always going to be that amount. So like it's not something you have to like know. Like oh, it's going to be X amount. It's not that's not something you need to do because you're not an underwriter or anything like that. You could just say, "Oh, it could range between this amount and this amount or it's this." So that's the only things I feel like you would really have to talk about in terms of like interest rates. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of the terms, like I know Tyler trained his stepbrother who now does something else for us, but he has like a lot of stuff that could potentially help you. What are there things maybe were you confused about?
uh, a lot, but maybe there are some computations that from the previous calls that I have no idea. Well, most
Yeah.
maybe you guys can give me a formula. I hope you guys don't mind me smoking. I smoke a lot. One of the
No,
few
no,
things.
you're fine, you're
All
fine.
right, thanks. One of the few things I own, really. All right.
So we'll definitely go in and revise this Quizlet, add some terms. Um, it's definitely going to help. If you have any questions on the Quizlet, let us know. But it's definitely going to help because it's from bare zero. You know what I mean? Like it's explaining these terms as if you knew nothing at all.
Right.
So which is where you're at right now. So we gotta help you learn.
Yeah, and then like the post, so like the first ones you listened to were probably a bit more complex than the other ones, like for Greg,
Oh.
Bobby, and Market. Those ones they're probably a bit more easier because they haven't submitted the application yet. So like, so we have two sides of the business, right? We have a back office and then we have the front end office, right? So PGF, which is Prestige Global Funds, is like the front office. So it's like where all the marketing comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it as like a front end. Like a lot of people know that name. It's more of like the brand, right? Whereas like the PSG, which is equivalent to PSG Capital Group, that's our like funder, that's our back office. So that's where a lot of like our underwriting and our loan specialists are, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So so the PSG sub account calls you were listening to, the post submitting application calls you were listening to, those were probably a bit more complex than the PGF sub account, which is the Prestige Global Funds calls, because on a lot of those calls, and Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I would say a lot of those calls are a little bit more less in depth. Like a lot of times it seems like a lot of times I would say maybe we typically just ask specific criteria as opposed to going more in depth on their loans. Like where
I
that's where
mean, yeah, I totally agree. I think honestly the approach we should take with Omar is first explaining, like really explaining to him this industry, because I don't think he doesn't know what an underwriter is or loan officer is, or
yeah,
all the ground up fix and flip. He has no idea any of this stuff. So I
yeah,
think we should take the approach, like let's just explain to him the industry first.
yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's all you need.
So pretty much as I mentioned, I think on like the first call, we're a private money lender. So what that is, it's essentially like equivalent to like a hard money or a private lender. Think of it as not a bank, right? We're not a bank. It's money that's coming typically from like a hedge fund of investors or money that's coming from some sort of fund. You can think of it as like kind of like almost like a stock, but it's not,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Um, so typically, like I said, we do like the front end of things, so the marketing, whereas our back office, which is what Tyler was explaining, like you don't really know what an underwriter or loan officer is, right? So what that is they technically like underwrite the deal. They talk about like if you were going to like a credit union, right? And you went to like a banker and they went through all the terms and they wrote out the terms and they calculated the terms and they told you, okay, this is going to be your payment on a monthly basis. That's what our underwriters do, and that's what our essentially our loan officers do. Underwriters and loan officers, you can think of them as like the same thing. Um, they pretty much do the exact same thing. So when somebody submits their application, right, it typically asks, and I mean, Tyler, am I explaining this?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just yeah, explaining the bare basics.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to, Amar. I don't know if you have like a VPN, but I typically block anybody that's not in the US from using this website. This is our Prestige Global Funds website. It will all make sense in a sec. So this is like what the application looks like, right? We have it on the front homepage and we have it here as well, just for like conversions. And typically what happens is, right, um, is we'll run an advertisement on like Facebook or Google or something like that, and we'll essentially pre-qualify them based off of like specific criteria. Like they must have, over a six something credit score. They must uh, have a income or an investment property. They must be looking for a loan amount that's greater than, 100,000, something like that, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where a lot of our leads come in from. So then they kind of funnel into the front office where Dylan will take a lot of these calls. He typically you could think of him as like a loan specialist. So pretty much what happens is when a lead comes in, he takes those calls, he calls them, he kind of pre-qualifies them a little more, tries to understand their scenario to see if we can actually fund that deal. A lot of people tend to lie on the pre-qualification form, if that makes sense. So even though we're asking them pre-qualifying questions before they come in, like for example, right? Like we might ask them, how many, flip. Do you understand what like a fix and flip deal is? Do you
Yeah,
understand what each one is?
you buy distressed house, you know, rehab it, sell it.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then do you know what a ground up construction is?
Uh, those are for developers, right? Or builders.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much like somebody buys a land and they're looking to build a property on the land.
Mm-hmm.
And then a multifamily home, do you happen to know what that is?
Duplexes, apartments maybe, or I don't know
Yeah.
those stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So pretty much right now we can only fund up to 4 units. So like for example, let's just say like somebody built like a multifamily home like a duplex or an apartment of three. We can do that. Or an apartment of four different like apartments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Units. We can do that. If it's five, we can't. If it's like two 4 unit properties, we can do it. I know that sounds a little bit weird. So it's like 2 buildings with 4 units in it, we can do it. As long as it's one, not like one with over four, we can do it. Like we can't
Uh,
do it. You know what I mean?
right,
What I
right. Okay,
mean?
that makes sense.
Cool. And then rental loans, that's pretty self-explanatory. We have a DSCR, which you can think of as like a buy, like a rent and hold, right? It's like a buy and hold. They're more like long-term loans, like
Mm-hmm.
30-year loans, stuff like that. Think of it almost as like a mortgage, but you're renting it out, right? None of the things we do are like primary.
Speculative.
Yeah, owner occupied. Like they're all like investment properties. Some like the investor cannot live in this property that they're trying to get a loan in. if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. Right.
Okay. And then an Airbnb is straightforward. You obviously know what like an Airbnb is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like the portfolio loan is when somebody has like multiple rental units or multiple rental properties. Um, and they need a loan on like multiple. A bridge loan is a little bit more complex. That's either like a short term bridge or a long-term bridge. So one can either go for up to a year, like or like 18 months or something like that, and then one can go all the way up to 30 years. And those just determine on different factors where our underwriters or the loan officers will kind of like guide and like help determine the terms for each of I would say like the borrower, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Is all that kind of really clear?
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
The Quizlet will cover a lot of this as well. So
Yeah,
you will,
I
will
kind of
be able
wanted
to,
to walk you
yeah,
through
yeah,
point A to point Z, apparent
yeah, of
like
course. And then, yeah, yeah, you'll be able to review all this again in the Quizlet. Um, so no worries.
What's a Quizlet? Like a cheat sheet, something like that.
Quizlet is, you know what? We can show you after. We can show you after. It's like flashcards, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
something that I can
'cause
read, right?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
how many flips have you done similar? So like essentially these are pre-qualification forms. I wanted to go over each type of loan solution with you so you kind of I can walk you through point A to point B. So essentially somebody clicks on our ad on Facebook, browsing through the web, they click on our ad, they hit, okay, I'm looking for a fix and flip loan. Okay, I'm gonna click that. We're going to pre-qualify them. So these are just some pre-qualifying factors, which you'll get access to, by the way, to understand like if you need to kind of, talk to them. We'll create different scripts for you based off of like the status
Mm-hmm.
that you'd be calling in. So no worries on like remembering all this. I just want you to kind of understand like where things are coming from and how things kind of go from like getting that lead to closing that lead because I think that's really important. So yeah, these are just some of like the pre-qualification factors that like determine if they're a good lead or not. As I said, Dylan will kind of go through all this again once we get the lead. Because only if they're qualified do we get the lead, right? So someone can put in whatever they want to put in, and then once they hit submit, that goes to our front end office, which is Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's going to call these people. He's going to see what they initially put in, but kind of just ask them more information. So on this right here that you got, assuming Tyler this would be like a call that like probably Dylan took or something like that, right?
I think they're all Ben, not responsive pipeline.
Got you. Okay. Well, I mean, you can go ahead. We'll have you go ahead and listen to some of Dylan's calls as well, just so you can understand what he does, because I think it might help you understand some more things. However, for now, it goes to Dylan, in which like essentially, and don't worry, we'll walk you through everything, but it kind of goes into this pipeline that's called like a new lead pipeline, and this is where Dylan will go and he'll go ahead and he'll call that person, chat with them a little bit, try to understand their scenario. From there, we'll determine whether or not they should submit this application, right? We don't want like 100 people filling out this application and then them all not being qualified because then what's going to happen? It's going to waste our underwriters' time,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to waste like we don't like we're the direct people. We're not like essentially brokers. So there's a difference of like a broker and a lender, and the difference is a lender is the direct source who's funding the loan and the broker is acting as like a middleman, right?
Right.
So it's going from like the borrower to uh the broker to the lender. We're borrower to lender.
Okay.
We do have brokers that we do like take their stuff, and that's another way that we generate a lot of revenue. But think of us as like the direct source,
Okay.
right? So we don't want like, 100 people. It's going to waste our underwriters' time. We only have like two underwriters right now. We're technically one, and Dennis, who is one of the owners of the capital. He's helping Jason, who is they're in our back office, Dennis and Jason. Yeah, Dennis and Jason. They underwrite most of the deals. So once somebody fills this form out, it goes directly to Jason and Dennis. And we don't want to waste their time because then what's going to happen is if more people come in that are actually qualified, we're going to take away from them, right? So essentially what happens is we fill out like all this information, right? I'll pretend that I'm somebody that's filling out information. We just added this, so this is just like another like thing, just saying like, hey, don't fill out our form if you're not qualified, type of deal. Um, but someone's gonna fill out all these questions, right? And then from filling out this question, they're gonna be able to book a call with our loan officers or our underwriter, in which it goes to their pipeline. Now it's out of the front end's hands, right? It's out of our Dylan, Tyler, me, Ben's
Ben.
hands at this point. It's going to the underwriting department. So the back office, you can think of that, like I said, as like PSG Capital. From there, they kind of work to see if whether the deal is able to be funded by us or not. If it's not, we call it like a dead deal. If it's good, then what happens is they send something called a term sheet, which we'll go through later.
Yeah.
And that term sheet is technically showing them their terms, what they're going to pay on a monthly basis, what we're going to be able to fund them. And then pretty much once that's signed and executed, then it goes to a processing step where they pay for like an appraisal, they pay for like they do like a credit and background check, all the stuff that essentially you would think about getting a loan. That's what that like does. And then let's just say, a week or two goes by, we're waiting for documents, we have documents we need to review, different things that the back office needs to do in the processing stage to actually close that deal. From there, let's just say all the docs are sent, everything's completed, they paid for the closing and all the things that they need to do. Then now the deal is funded. So then we're good to go. Now that person's closed. So that's kind of like getting from point A to Z. Does that kind of make sense? I know I went through that a little bit quickly.
It's okay. Cool.
You got like most of that,
I
like
did. I did.
the the scale, the time cycle. Okay.
Mhm.
So where you kind of go in, is what's going to happen is from point A, essentially, we have two different, Tyler's going to add you to this so you can understand, but I'll let Tyler walk through a little bit more about this then because he's better at this than I am. I do a lot of the marketing and then he does all like the operational sides of things. But pretty much what's going to happen is they're going to funnel in, like I said, a new lead. This is our front office and this is our back office, right? So you're going to get access to both of these things. I know you said you haven't used Go High Level before, but it's very easy. Um, you'll again get access to it. This is where you're going to call people from and all of that stuff. So this is where you're going to pretty much spend the majority of your time working with us. So pretty much what happens, and again, I'm gonna let Tyler do this because he has it like this. He's the one that's creating everything. So Tyler, I don't know if I'm missing anything, but I just want to show Omar like how to maybe use high level and
Sure.
determine like what is which.
Sure. Uh, okay. So, did you get a chance to look at high level, Omar?
I did. I did. But it was totally different from what you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do in high level. You're only really going to be doing such a small part of it. So most of this stuff you see here, you're never even going to touch, to be
Okay.
honest with you. So don't let that overwhelm you, okay?
Okay.
So this is the main pipeline as you see. So new leads come here, hot leads, no response. This is nothing you're actually going to touch either. Um, The only place you may end up touching is this no response stage. So these are leads that our loan specialist, Dylan, could not reach. So that means they went quiet. We can't get a hold of them. It's as simple as clicking this call button and it will start calling in the system. You can click add notes. You can, as you can see, there was already notes on it. You can review before calling and add a note. Very simple.
A question,
So, any
real quick.
questions?
Yeah. If there was a contact before, it would show there, right, on the notes. I mean, so
Yeah,
at least I'd know where to start or where to pick up.
absolutely. So let me show you. So, if they're in the no response stage, that means we have tried to reach them. And you're right. We've either reached them before or we've never spoke to them. Most of them should have notes because Dylan is very on top of making notes.
Hmm.
Another way to check is clicking, you can see view conversations. You see here?
Right. Right. Okay.
Right. You can click that. And this is essentially
Chat
the
history.
conversation window. So this is SMS. You can see the calls. As you can see, there's this person booked an appointment. They came in first from the ad. This is an automated text they get when they come in from the ad. If you want to read it, hello, this is Prestige Global Funds. We are lenders and are not brokers. Thanks for submitting our form. One of our specialists will be in touch with you shortly. And they
So
booked
you
an
can basically
appointment,
see
and it looks like they just missed their appointment. And it looks like they tried calling, but Dylan missed it. So these are the leads you're going to be calling through. You're going to be trying to bring them back to life. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. So you can basically see the history of the call or the
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
Exactly.
like everything, and even on the left too, Tyler. Like I don't know if you want to show him like on the left hand side, like you can see all of the things that like they've filled out from like the pre-qualification form to like them booking the meeting or where they came from, like how much the loan amount was, pretty much anything that they came in from, right? Um, so who's that lead, Tyler, and when they call? When did they call so I can let my brother know?
Mm-hmm.
Today, actually. Oh, this is today. Looks like you tried calling a couple hours ago. So this is a very, very new lead. We wouldn't, I don't want to overwhelm you actually, so I won't say too much, but you can check the notes and any questions, any other questions so far?
Um. Well, I was going to ask if I have a different phone system, but apparently it goes with a high level CRM,
What was
right?
that?
Um, I was going to ask if I'd be using a phone system or a dialer, but I think it goes with high level.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes, yes,
cool.
this will be the phone system.
All right, cool.
Yep. Because it is a dialer as well. It's
All right.
so this is all probably very complicated to you. Appointment set. These are the leads that submit the application.
Tyler,
So yeah,
think what you can do for Omar is like maybe you can filter so he only sees the no responses in that stage, like in that pipeline. Like there's a way like you can advance filter it so he doesn't get overwhelmed like seeing all the statuses. He could just see the no response status.
It's
no,
okay.
I
You
don't
don't
think
have
it's
to. You don't have to. I can just
Okay.
focus on the no response. No problem.
Okay. I know it's a lot. Like I would get so overwhelmed if someone showed me this, but because there's like 700 plus people in here, but
Right.
yeah, so this is like one of the pipelines, I guess you would be like you see like here where it says like main pipeline investors,
Mm-hmm.
like you see that right here.
Right. Right.
So like that's just as this one of the pipelines. This is like a no response
Mhm.
stage. So this is from like the marketing, right? It's coming in from like the marketing to like like the front end, like to Dylan essentially, or our loan specialist, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and submit application, just follow-ups. Chances are Omar is going to be putting leads in some of these statuses.
Yes.
Like, so we don't have to go too in depth with them now, maybe, but as you can see here, This is called the not responsive pipeline. So remember that no response stage I was showing you before, Omar?
Right, right.
If they're in that stage for about 3 weeks, they get moved here to this not responsive pipeline, where then it's basically a cold call pipeline that Ben was calling through. You call them, if they don't answer, you drag them here. Call one, no answer. Call two, and then et cetera, et cetera. Any questions?
So I just, for example, Michael Allen. I called him, no response. Click and drag to call one, no answer.
Exactly. Simple as that. Just
Okay.
drag them, call one, no answer.
All right. All right.
Um, yep. And if there's any notes, you can see as well.
So
Okay.
that first, so just to let you know, like that, go back, Tyler, go back to the main pipeline. So like anybody in this no response stage that we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
automatically after, what'd you say, Tyler?
About
Two,
3 weeks.
oh, 3 weeks, they
2 3
automatically
weeks.
go into that new pipeline called like no response.
Got it.
So they automatically go there, and then from there, it's kind of like I would call these people like kind of went cold, but they did opt in to get funded.
Yep.
So, like, you can call Michael Allen, right? Okay, like he didn't answer, but now we can drag him to call one, no answer. Let's say he did answer, but he's like, hey, you know what? I don't need funding for another 2 weeks. Well, you can drag him to the no 2 week follow up, etc. We'll show you how to like change statuses and stuff like that later, but that's pretty much what this pipeline does, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We'll make a specific script for everything you're going to be doing, so you'll always have structure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, this is 2 week follow up is simple. If they need to be followed up within 2 weeks, you put them there. If follow up in 2 months, put them there. This is if they responded to an automated text or email. We don't have to go too in depth with that now. This is if they're hot. This is maybe you talk to them and they say, "Oh, can you call me back in 30 minutes?" You'd put them there. Just that deal means like we can't fund them or they're just something's wrong. Fake number. It's a fake number.
When can you
Makes
say
sense.
it's a dead deal?
That deal is if maybe someone they wanted to live in the property. You know what I mean?
I
But
don't, well,
we
you
don't
can,
fund it if they live in the property. We only fund non-owner occupied properties. You know what
How
I mean?
about how about like maybe a family member they wanted to live there? No, we don't do that, huh?
No, that wouldn't work either. So
Okay.
you can
so,
see here this person had a very low credit score and no experience. We can't fund them. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Right. Right. Okay.
um,
So
I would listen. What I would do too is like once you get in here, like you can take a few hours and listen to a lot of the calls that each status is in, right? So like Tyler, you want to go into like this, for
yeah,
example, like that real
yeah,
quick?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Omar, once we'll get the contract for you, and then you can just clock in and just listen to like 10 hours of calls or something. So you could listen to this call and see why it's a dead deal.
Can I help you? Hello, my name is Emmanuel Smith. I just got an email from you guys kind of
Can you hear?
Yep. Yep.
this morning. The company be a good fit for a property like that.
I can't understand.
Okay, well, tell me what you got going on. We're lenders, not brokers, so I'll tell you what we can do or can't do. How's that? No, that's perfect. Right now we're looking at a six flat. It's in Cleveland, Ohio. We already kind of have a lot of experience in the area. We've had
So it's a six-unit building, correct?
correct.
Okay, so I'm Pat. We stopped lending on anything more than four for the time being.
Got
So
it.
So four units.
stop the call.
So,
So
yeah,
it seems like he was calling about a 6 unit property. Remember what we talked about earlier? We can't lend until like we only can lend up to four. So that's why he was dead. However, Tyler, this is a good example. This person might be a good example to like reach back out to.
Right,
Yeah.
because I don't want to confuse Omar too much, but we are partnering with another lender, another source of capital, where we're going to be able to fund unlimited units, basically.
Okay.
But once that happens, I think that's when we'll have that conversation with you,
Mm-hmm.
just because we don't want to put too much on you now.
Okay.
So, yeah, honestly, I recommend you really just listen to as much as you can. Like listen to what dead deals, why they're dead deals, hot leads, just get an understanding of everything. I'd say do that after studying the Quizlet for a little bit.
Right.
And so this is the Quizlet. It's like it's commonly used in schools to learn things. So you can click learn here, um, memorize it all. It's all new. Start learn. I can give you the login. So ARV, you have no idea what this means. It means after renovation value. So after you renovate the property, how much is it worth? That's what it means.
I thought it was after repair value. Same, probably the same.
Same thing. Yeah.
Same
Same
thing.
exact.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
there you go. So it's very simple. It's what's our maximum ARV? So you would have no idea what this is. You'd probably hit don't know here. To be honest with you, I don't even remember it. I think 70%. Yeah.
But I
Don't.
thought it's all different based off of the loan amount, Tyler.
75%.
Yeah, it probably is. I think Peter and I have to
75.
go in.
It was
Peter
like
and I have to,
Yeah,
75% ARV.
yeah.
yeah, but I think some products are differ than others. Like
Okay.
for a fix and flip, it might be higher than something else. So Peter and I
Uh,
will go in.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Do you have like different rates for different states? Or do you have a specific market, a specific state you guys work on, or?
Uh,
We
so
do.
if you
There's
go to like our audience is investors or general contractors or like developers, people like that. Think of like real estate investors, right?
Mm-hmm.
That own multiple properties or own like a property for investment purposes. So I think did I give you access to this
Oh,
before?
yeah, yeah. I think there are a few states you guys do not fund. North Dakota, Vermont.
I
Uh,
sent him to Tyler, I sent him the broker PDF.
got it.
right.
It,
Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, right? You guys don't.
yep.
Yeah.
So everything in that PDF I sent to you is this right
Okay.
here.
Ah,
So we
okay.
can do it's a document, but I sent it to you in like a prettier version.
Mm.
But I'll send so Tyler, why don't you just share this with him?
What's your email?
Z Canaan. Z Canaan, K-A-N double A-N, like the promised land. Another N, like Nancy. There you go.
So you should have that now. But it's essentially the exact same thing as the PDF that I gave to you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it has the exact same stuff. So yes, we don't lend in those states. So those are the states we currently do not lend in. However, that's not saying that won't change eventually, but you'll know when it changes.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything essentially are pre-qualifications or are factors on like who we can lend to and who we can't is right here, right? So like for example, if somebody called and you're calling them, let's just say they were in the no answer, no response pipeline, I'll do some calls with you on a Zoom so you can listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll do some with you live as well. But like let's just say I called somebody in a no response status, and let's just say it was Michael Allen, right? Hi, Michael. And we'll create some scripts for you, but like, hi, Michael, this is Peter. I'm just calling because it seems like you submitted a form to get some funding on your fix and flip property or on your property. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for? He might say, oh, okay, I have a property, I'm under contract that I'm going to be, that's the purchase price is 100,000 and the reno budget is 50,000. Okay, great. Well, what's your credit score? It is a 700. Amazing. Now, so Tyler, go back to the cheat sheet. So we know that the minimum credit score for a fix and flip is 600. He told me it was a 700. He said that his purchase price was 100,000 and his reno budget was 50,000. That's great. That's a great person to talk to. Now we need to know how many he's done. Like how many similar projects has he done? Um, let's just say he says, "Oh, I haven't done. This is my first one."
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's okay. Now we're gonna look at our leverage points here, right? So like we have no experience. He's never done any, which gives him a no experience category, right?
I don't think Omar should try to underwrite the deal. I think he should just qualify them.
Right, but I think he should understand
Okay.
how yeah. So like, because I want him to understand the sheet.
Yeah.
So then he's gonna say, oh, then you can kind of know, all right, well, he's gonna we can fund him 70% of that 100,000, and we can actually give him 100% of his renovation budget, right? So as long as the renovation budget doesn't like exceed 100,000,
Mm-hmm.
we typically fund 100% of it. If it does exceed it, the underwriters will kind of work on like how much they can fund and whatnot. You don't really need to know that. Like I don't even know that, but that's typically like how it works. And let's just say Michael said I've had five, then he'd probably qualify for an 85% purchase. So like 100,000, we can say out of the 100,000, we can fund him 85%, right? Which is 85,000 and give him 50,000 in the renovation budget. Does that make sense?
Okay, so for 100,000, 85,000, and another 50,000. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, that
If
is correct.
he wanted 50,000 for renovation,
Okay.
however much, however
So
much.
his loan amount would technically be like 135,000, right? Because you add up those two. I mean, you don't really need to know all that. I'm just
Right.
trying to have
Mm-hmm.
you understand like how it works in a nutshell because like I don't want you to have to like call these people and then have no idea what you're talking about because I want you to like understand as much as you can possibly understand before calling because sometimes like I just feel like it could be it is quite good to know. I mean like talking to some people. I mean that's how I feel. I
Right.
would say too. Sorry, Tyler, what?
Oh no, it was me. Definitely, I really would not want to sound, look like an idiot talking to, talking to a client and, sounding like I don't know what I'm saying or I don't know the business, right? So at least I have an idea.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'd be good for you to like
Mhm.
understand a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
the Quizlet mixed with listening to tons of calls and then calling with Peter will be the perfect training, honestly. I think you will learn a ton. Um, Ben picked it up pretty fast, to be honest, so I don't see why he wouldn't do the same.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Should we still show him more high level? I feel like we've kind of showed him everything he needs to know, at least for now. I think once you start calling, I think that'll be the best. Yeah, he'll learn the fastest once you're actually calling with him. You'll show him the whole process. Who would he start calling first?
I
Not
mean,
responsive. Uh,
that and like I would like him to help the back office.
yeah, so yeah, let's show him PSG. So this is, as you know, like these are all leads, Omar, that have not submit the application. They've just submit the lead form. So we'll go in here to PSG.
so they just went to your website and, just filled
Exactly.
out the form and stopped there.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't fill out. Didn't fill out this form. This is the application. This means like they're putting in their info and they're going to
Okay.
speak to an underwriter. But maybe they filled out this chat widget.
Okay.
That's when they would come to the PGF. But this brings them right to
Yeah.
PSG. This. So
Okay.
this is where the underwriters operate. So once someone fills this out, they go to here, new submission. And as you can see that they'll call them once and they don't respond. Then if they call them twice and they don't respond, it's going to be in your hands. So then you're going to have to call through all those leads. It's actually going to automatically bring them right here to VA pipeline, no response after submission. So then you're going to try to get these leads that submit this application, bring them back to life. Um, You can try to we'll make a script, of course, and we'll try to make the calls fairly concise. My would guess is maybe 3 minutes would be the average length of these calls because your goal is really just to reconnect them with the underwriter. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, understand like why they didn't like speak to him. Maybe the underwriter just didn't. The underwriters like have a lot on their plate, so like they don't call like more than like two times typically.
They don't
So
call more than once as of now, I think.
yeah,
So
it's a problem. So they just have like a lot on their hands, and they're not gonna sit there and call the people that don't respond because they just can't. So typically like what's going to happen is I think the best way or the best thing that I think you should be doing is setting appointments.
Right.
I the appointment setting section is like, so for example, Tyler, go back to the main pipeline. So let's just say they called once, they first call, no response. um let's just say, okay, pretend they called twice and no response, it's going to automatically go to you at that point. Um, and then what's going to happen is it seems like they just didn't get into contact with them. So what I would do is I would say, well, when's the best time that I can connect you with somebody, right? Like we'll create you a script, and all you're going to have to do is just put them on their calendar. It's very simple. So we can,
if he gets a hold of them, you're saying like if you call him and you get a
if
hold
he
of them,
gets a hold of them,
then
if
you're
he talks to them, yeah.
Question.
yeah
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah. For example, I called them. Sorry. Sorry. And
No
then
worries.
and they started showing some interest, and they started asking me questions. So I guess proper thing for me to do is direct them or maybe schedule them with an underwriter. Is that right? Or
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, they submit the application with us, so
mhm.
we want to get that. We obviously want to get them to the closing table. So let's explain to them now what a term sheet is, Peter. So what an underwriter does is when someone submits the application, this application that you saw, it gives the underwriter most of the information they need to send a term sheet. The term sheet will have the interest rate, it will have any other fees that we charge,
Mhm.
and maybe a couple other things. So that's what the underwriter sends to the investor. And then from there, the investor would sign the term sheet. And that means like they're moving forward with the loan. They agreed they're going to do the loan. They're signing the term sheet. It's basically like a contract. And then from there, they pay all the fees and all that fun stuff. So your job is obviously like you can't give leads these term sheets, but if they don't respond after submitting the application, you can bring them back to life and reconnect them with the underwriter. You're definitely going to be asked some questions, most likely, and that's why we want to train you, of course, so you can answer a lot of them. But if you don't know the answer to a question, you can always say, I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not an underwriter, but I would love to connect you with the underwriting department so they can get you on a term sheet. You know what I mean? That's basically what your script is gonna consist of.
Gotcha.
Uh, got it?
Mhm.
Perfect. So then the other part of the VA pipeline is after, so we sent them the term sheet, but then they went quiet. You know what I mean? We send them the term sheet, but then they don't respond. Does that make sense?
Yep. So I called them back, follow up with them.
Exactly. Exactly. You'd follow up, and then we would definitely make a script here because it's going to be different than after submitting the application. Now you're going to have to figure out why they didn't sign the term sheet, and we'll definitely have to make a script here because I assume you're still just going to be connecting them with the underwriters, or you're going to be dragging them to dead deal if they say that they went with a different lender, all that kind of stuff. So Peter and I will have to work on that, like the scripts and all that, which we haven't done yet. Any questions?
So I just asked them why they did not push through with the deal, or do I convince them to
No, I wouldn't say convince them, but I would definitely in the
just
script you're probably going to be asking. I noticed you haven't signed their term sheet yet. Is there a reason why? probably something like that is what you'll be saying. And then they're going to answer. And then you're obviously going to need to continue the conversation.
Right.
And the goal is to, the goal is to get them to sign it. So we're gonna have to figure that side of things out. We'll have a whole script for you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have like all the different possibilities of their answers, and then what you can say. We want to make it as scripted out for you as we can.
Okay.
Um, Make sense?
Right. Okay.
Okay. Um, and anything to add, Peter?
No, I think what you should do, Omar, is like, Tyler, did you give him access to high level?
No, no, I didn't.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll have you all what I'll do is I'll create a account for you in high level. Tyler will add you. You'll gain access to this. And then from here, just kind of, look through everything. I mean, if you have any questions, let us know. You can kind of like see like, different conversations, different recordings, stuff like that. Tyler will send you the Quizlet. I know that there are some edits that we'll have to do. Just kind of
Yeah,
like read the Quizlet and listen to some calls. And
Mm-hmm.
what we'll do is tomorrow, Omar, is like you and I will get on some calls, maybe um, throughout the day because I also have calls for like work that I have to get on, but during those times, like either Tyler or I will switch off. If he wants to make some calls, I make some calls, whatever it is. Um, I have a call around 12 Eastern tomorrow, and then I have another call at 11, 12. I have a few calls tomorrow, but we can meet. I'll message you. We'll meet for a couple hours once you listen to some calls and look over the Quizlet, and you'll listen to some of my live calls with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then after each call, you'll just let me know if you had any questions, and you just start to like understand what these live calls consist of, and I'll read from the script that Tyler and I will create from you. So that way like you can see how the script works live, and try to understand like how it works. It looks a bit more complex than it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be
Mm-hmm.
very simple once you get the script. I think over time you probably won't even need the script because you'll just get the hang of everything. But Tyler, I mean, from now to maybe tomorrow, Tyler and I are going to create that script for you prior to the call. I'll send you over that script or the scripts. But in the meantime, Tyler will give you access to the Go High Level, and we'll give you access to the Quizlet so you can just start reviewing some things. But I think, Tyler, we have to change some things, right?
yeah. Let's definitely go in there, change some things, maybe even add some things too.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then probably within like an hour, you'll get that from us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then what I would do is maybe take a few hours between now and tomorrow. Like we can meet. I'll message you on Slack, but I think we can meet tomorrow around like 10, maybe 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can meet after, whatever works for you. And just start calling some people, and then if you had questions on like the training Quizlet material, you can let us know too.
Cause
Does that work?
yeah, we can meet whatever works for you. I'm working for
Okay,
you,
great.
man. Come on.
Okay, awesome. So,
Just let me know. Just let me know what time. I'll be there.
okay, awesome. And then, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna hire you on Upwork as well.
Oh, by the way,
And
this is my
It's
first time. I mean, my previous client for 8 years. He got me from Upwork, but we work outside of Upwork, so I really have no idea how how to go with Upwork. I think there's like a tracker. I'm not really sure. Maybe I can.
yeah,
Not sure how to work with that, but maybe I can just
what we
or
can
yeah. It
do,
should be. I believe there's some area where you can like hit clock in or something like that, and then it even like I think it like takes a picture of your screen every 15 minutes and like proves you're actually working.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, it should be pretty simple. Peter, do you know about it or
Oh
no?
no 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 no!
yeah,
Don't worry. You. I'll take care of it. I have friends who, you know, work for Upwork or have
And then like
account with
over time,
Upwork.
after this week, if things go well, then like if you wanted to go outside of Upwork, we could talk about like, sending you like I don't know if you like PayPal or Wise or something like that,
Hmm.
if you want as well, and then, have a tracker or something like that. But I think,
Because I think you would probably save money from the Upwork fees
It's a ten
if we did
percent,
that.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, a
maybe,
lot.
maybe a few months. Well, if things go north, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
yeah,
No.
100%. So what we'll do is let me see here. So I'm gonna do that today. I'll add you on Upwork so you'll have the availability to track your time. I'll actually do that now in a sec. And then we'll go from there, and then Tyler and I will create the stuff, and then I'll send it to you on Slack, okay? And any questions you have, just let me know.
Yeah. Anyway, I have Slack, so if I have any questions, I'll just leave a message.
Yes. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask questions at all. We want to see you ask a lot of questions because you got a
I
lot to
will.
learn.
Don't. I will. Don't worry.
All right, good.
By the way,
Awesome, awesome. So
you guys really look young. I mean, my previous boss was young, but you guys are really younger, man.
he's
Jesus.
young. I look young, but I'm not as young as I look. I'm 28. So, I mean, I'm young, but and then Tyler's like 19.
No way.
He's
Okay.
young. But
Jesus. Okay.
I mean, everyone else that we work with, they're pretty young too. I mean, like Dennis is 28. I think Jason's 28. Dylan's like 34.
Mhm.
I mean, we're all pretty young and relaxed, but you know, yeah. I mean, I look younger than I am, I think, though.
Yeah. You know what? I think you were like probably early 20s.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, when I first saw you, Jesus, I got a kid, man. I got a kid as an employer. Oh my God. But anyway, okay, we're good.
Hey, we're
Well,
looking forward to it, Omar. We hope to see a long relationship here.
Right. Okay, me too.
all right. Talk to you soon. We'll send you some stuff shortly.
Gotcha. Thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.